So I just finished a 7-hour drive down the coast of New Zealand with a screaming baby in my ear, and to stop myself from turning into an oncoming semi-truck, I spent some time thinking about the current state of the real-time strategy genre. I know, exhilarating, right? Regardless, I came to realize something. Wow, there is a lot going on right now, isn't there? And my apologies if I sound a little different, I just had my wisdom teeth taken out just yesterday, so my voice might be a little different to what you're used to. For as long as I've been terminally online, around 15 years, I can remember people exclaiming that RTS is dead, or dying, and that the golden age of the genre is over. And to that I say, you're kinda right, to be honest, especially now. But that doesn't mean we can have a new Silver Age, or Bronze Age, or even a Renaissance? Yes, the days of real-time strategy being the top dog may be behind us, but when you think about it, is that what we even want now? Developers fighting over who has the biggest player counts and widest revenue streams? Making games that appeal to the lowest common denominator and resulting in shallow, consumable experiences? We've already suffered that fate in the 2000s, just how shooters did afterwards, and then MOBAs, and then Battle Royales, and I'm sure it will continue beyond that. Personally, I like where we're at now, which is really what inspired me to make this video. You see, while indies and modders have certainly kept the genre off of life support over the past decade or so, it seems now there's a real interest by bigger studios and what some people would refer to as AA developers to jump back in, who, while armed with lesser budgets, are able to craft more unique experiences for a more niche audience that, most importantly, they actually want. And they're able to do so thanks to the lack of corporate nonsense and red tape that comes from being a massive AAA developer or publisher with massive and now unrealistic expectations. Some of you might have noticed over the past few years more RTSs popping up and being brought to market. I'm talking Homeworld Deserts of Karak, Iron Harvest, Halo Wars 2, the Age of Empires Definitive Series, Age of Empires 4, Active Aggression, and Total Warhammer, just to name a few. But what you may not have noticed are some interesting details around player counts. Starting with the games we've just mentioned, while not all have secured a persistent and solid player base, some have. And more interestingly, the numbers for a lot of existing older releases are doing anything but careening down a cliff to irrelevancy. Look at the ever popular Age of Empires 2 in both HD and Definitive editions. Look at the Twitch viewership for, say, StarCraft 1 and 2. Not massive numbers, but something. And even just view counts on some of these games' trailers and gameplay videos. These have got to count for something, right? There's clearly an audience here, and they're not going away. What really excites me though is what's on the horizon, both confirmed and my own plausible speculation, let's call it. We've got some big industry names coming, like Company of Heroes 3 and Homeworld 3, which are likely both going to be out within 12 months. But we've also got brand new IPs, like the just announced Tempest Rising. If you haven't seen this yet, well, try not to get too excited, but wow, this does seem pretty cool. On the surface, it seems like a modern day Command & Conquer, just with a different name. Here's the description. Classic RTS meets modern production and performance in Tempest Rising. Inspired by RTS greats of the 90s and 2000s, Tempest Rising is a classic, base-building, real-time strategy game set in a modern-day alternative history war scenario. It features 3 unique factions, each with its own approach to combat and economy, and offering a variety of strategies for players of all stripes, maps with neutral structures to contest and neutral populations to contend with, deep and rewarding gameplay that keeps a focus on strategy while rewarding skill, and built-in customization options that allow players to approach the game their way in both single-player and multiplayer game modes. Take on the role of commander in the highly mobile and advanced peacekeeping corps of the Global Defense Forces, or the hard-hitting and desperate Tempest Dynasty, in 2 15-mission campaigns that allow the player to customize the army for each mission, as both armies seek to understand and control the mysterious but beneficial Tempest vines that grow unchecked across the war-torn planet Earth. Other dangers wait in the shadows as the origin of the Tempest is revealed. Wow, that sounds pretty familiar, huh? Anyways, a bonus to all that is that it's being developed by established teams with a proven track record, those being 3D Realms, of all things, and Slipgate Ironworks, which might have the coolest name for a studio I've ever heard. THQ Nordic are publishing, who have been on a bit of a roll recently, and it's scheduled for release next year. Personally, I'm excited, especially after seeing the trailer, and this is one I'll be keeping a very close eye on. But if that doesn't take your fancy, don't worry. Real-time strategy fans are eating good right now. Just look at this chart I put together of all of the confirmed RTS games on the horizon. Right, so just this year in 2022, we of course have Company of Heroes 3, we've got Dune Spice Wars, which I believe is in early access already, we've got Men of War 2, we've got the Stargate Timekeepers RTS, and Falling Frontier. Next year, confirmed, is Homeworld 3, Tempest Rising, and Stormgate. And then beyond that, / to be announced, most likely for 2023 I would say, is Rat and Reich. We've got the unnamed Star Wars RTS, which is currently in development, with Respawn. We've got Petroglyph's next game, which, while not guaranteed to be an RTS, is very possible. We've got the next Stronghold game, which is confirmed to be in development right now at Firefly. We've got Viking City Builder, The Settlers, which isn't fully an RTS, but you see where I'm coming from. We've got Manor Lords, we've got Beyond All Reason, again in alpha already I believe, and Frostpunk 2. And purely in the speculation zone, but I would say these are pretty likely within the next 1 to 2 years. I would say there's almost certainly going to be something in Age of Mythology, whether that's an HD remaster, a definitive edition, or a full-on sequel. Based on King Art Games' success with Iron Harvest, I would say it's very possible we'll get an Iron Harvest 2 down the line. A Command & Conquer Tiberian Sun or Red Alert 2 Remastered seems inevitable based on how the original remastered collection went. And based on the activity of the Ironclad Games and Sins of a Solar Empire Twitter and social handles, plus the hiring that Ironclad have been doing recently, I want to think that there's a Sins of a Solar Empire 2 coming, but we'll see. They've been teasing me on Twitter for a little while now. So yeah, there's a lot coming, and I know this video may come off as overly optimistic, but I think we're in an optimistic time right now, at least in the realm of strategy gaming. You know, why don't we revisit this video in a year or two, and we shall see if it's either aged like fine wine or fine milk. On that note, why don't we make some predictions? I'll start. I predict that within 12 months we will have an announcement on Command & Conquer Tiberian Sun or Red Alert 2 Remastered. We'll know details on the upcoming Star Wars RTS, with bonus points for it being related to Empire at War or Galactic Battlegrounds. And let's also say some leaked news about an upcoming Age of Mythology project, so either a sequel or more likely a definitive edition of the original. Like I said before, let's revisit this in a year or so and see how close I was. And on that note, what are yours? Do you have any hot takes or spicy predictions? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to see your bold vision for the next 12 to 24 months of real-time strategy gaming. And strap in, because I think we're in for quite a ride. Thanks very much for watching, and thanks to my patrons. Those being the Knight category, Aero, Crizzy218, George Rain, Jack Walsh, Nutty Jawa, Overlord Jebus, T-Edits, and Crispy Rogo Chicken. At the Cavalier tier, we have Takayo, David DeBolli, and Ludwig Fervatoni. And at the Paladin tier, we have Standby for Systems Nominal. Thanks very much, mate. Much appreciated. And for everyone else, thank you again very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.